It started with a laugh. Not mine. Not the kind that heals a room. No. This laugh cut. Sharp as chalk screeching across a blackboard. Mrs. Karen, our teacher, stood at the front of the classroom, eyes narrowing at me like I was some joke waiting to happen. Maybe if you stopped eating so many donuts, you could run a little faster during gym, she said. Loud enough. Cruel enough. The entire class froze, then cracked into uneasy giggles. My heart pounded in my ears. Boom, 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 as if each beat asked, did she really just say that? I felt my stomach twist. My throat burned. Words trapped like prisoners behind my teeth. I could barely look up. My hands shook as I fiddled with the corner of my notebook. God, why here? Why now? Why me? She smirked, as though satisfied she'd taught me something. But it wasn't a lesson. It was humiliation, wrapped in sarcasm, dripping with venom. And here's the part she didn't know. The part she couldn't even imagine. I'm autistic. My world works differently. My weight, my quirks, my silences, they all come with reasons she never bothered to ask about. Instead, she labeled me, mocked me, and left me bleeding invisibly under fluorescent lights. A sigh slipped from me. Quiet. Shaky. Just let it end. Just let the clock ring. Please. But no. Karen wasn't done. You know, she continued, tapping her marker against the whiteboard. There's something called self-control. Ever heard of it? The class let out a scattered gasp. Some kids laughed nervously. Others stared at their desks. And me. I wanted to disappear. Melt into the floor tiles. But here's the thing about humiliation. It doesn't just fade. It grows. It festers. Carves scars deep inside until one day, something snaps. The next day, whispers followed me through the hallways. She said that in front of everyone. Man, that's messed up. Dude, are you okay? I nodded, forced a half smile. But inside, a storm brewed. My chest felt heavy. Each breath came out jagged, uneven. Then came the twist I never saw coming. My friend Leah recorded it. The whole cruel moment. The words. The smirk. The class's reaction. All captured on her phone. Do you want this? She asked, holding the phone out. I didn't know if I should. But you deserve proof. She crossed the line. My hands trembled as I took it. Proof. Cold. Digital. Undeniable proof. My voice cracked. But, what do I even do? Leah leaned closer. You fight back. Don't let her bury this. Don't let her bury you. I swallowed hard. My pulse raced. Could I? Should I? I wasn't the type to stand up. Words never flowed right. People thought I was awkward. Too quiet. Weird. But the clip burned in my pocket like fire. And fire, once lit, demands to spread. That evening, I sat at the kitchen table, laptop open, replaying the video. Again. Each repeat sliced me deeper. But it also sharpened something inside me. Resolve. I sent it to my mom. She watched silently, her face darkening. Then she slammed her hand on the table. Thud. No. Absolutely not. She does not get to humiliate my child and walk away clean. Her voice shook. Her eyes glistened. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't just about me. It was about respect, dignity, humanity. We drafted an email, formal but fierce. We attached the video. We demanded accountability. And then we pressed send. My stomach churned. My fingers tapped restlessly against the wooden table. What if it backfired? What if they said I was exaggerating? What if? Ding. Reply. Faster than I expected. The principal wanted to meet. Tomorrow. The next morning. Tension buzzed through the air. The hallway chatter. The clatter of lockers. the squeak of sneakers. It all felt sharper, louder, heavier. When I walked into the principal's office, Karen was already there. She sat stiffly, arms crossed, lips tight like she'd been forced to eat something sour. The principal cleared his throat. "We've received a very concerning video." Karen scoffed. "Oh, please. Kids these days are so sensitive. They can't take a little tough love." Tough love. My voice cracked, but I pushed through. "You humiliated me. In front of everyone. You mocked my body. My existence." My chest heaved. My hands balled into fists. "You don't even know me." Karen's eyes widened. Just for a flicker. Then she rolled them. "Oh, come on. If he..." She jabbed her finger toward me. "Can't handle a harmless joke. Maybe he shouldn't be in my class." Harmless. My mom's voice thundered from beside me. "Do you call mocking an autistic child harmless?" The room went silent. My mom had said it. The word. Autistic. It hung in the air. Undeniable. Unshakable. Karen blinked. Stunned. She stammered. I didn't know." "And that," my mom hissed, "is exactly the problem." The fallout was fast. The school board launched an investigation. Parents buzzed. Whispers spread like wildfire. Some defended her. "She's been teaching for years." But more were outraged. The video leaked online. Shared. Commented. Blasted across social media. Disgusting behavior. She shouldn't be around kids. Fire her. And yet, Karen still clung to her arrogance. She posted on Facebook, "Cancel culture strikes again. You can't even joke in class anymore without someone crying." The comments tore her apart. Joking? That was cruelty. Try body shaming your own kid. See how funny it feels. I read them, heart pounding, torn between fear and relief. The world finally saw her. The world finally saw me. But Karen wasn't done. Not yet. She cornered me one afternoon near the parking lot. Her voice low, venomous. "You think you've won. You think one stupid video ends me. I've been teaching longer than you've been alive. People will forget. They always forget." I froze. My chest tightened. Her shadow loomed, sharp under the sun. But then, footsteps. Leah stepped out from behind a car. Her phone raised. Camera recording. Karen's eyes widened. "You little..." Leah smirked. "Smile for round 2. Karen stormed off, muttering curses under her breath. Weeks passed. The investigation concluded. The verdict. Karen was removed. Not just suspended. Gone. Her resignation forced. Her career crumbling. The school released a statement. "We do not tolerate bullying or discrimination. Every student deserves respect." And me, for the first time in forever, I felt lighter, like the weight of silence had finally lifted. But here's the bitter twist. The one that still stings. Karen never apologized. Not once. Not to me. Not to my mom. Not even to the class. She walked away, bitter, angry, muttering about snowflakes and ruined lives. And yet, the irony hung thick in the air. She mocked me for my weight, my autism, my existence. But in the end, her own arrogance weighed her down. Her cruelty crushed her. Her downfall was her own doing. Sometimes, I replay it all in my head. The laughter, the sting, the humiliation. But then I remember the fight, the proof, the justice. And I whisper to myself, she didn't break me. She built me. Because sometimes, the cruelest voices push us to find our own. So here I am, still standing, still breathing, still me. Not her victim, not her punchline, but my own damn story. And if you've ever been silenced, mocked, or dismissed, remember this: the moment you fight back, the moment you refuse to shrink, You've already won. Thank you for listening to my story. Don't forget to comment your thoughts below and subscribe to the channel for more stories that deserve to be heard. My hands were shaking when I saw armored trucks roll into our cul-de-sac that bright Saturday morning. Sirens wailed. Radios crackled, and my 7-year-old son was crying because his toy had just turned into a neighborhood crisis. How in the world could anyone mistake a plastic rocket ship for a bomb? The chaos hit like a hammer. Blue and red lights bounced off garage doors. Neighbors peeked through curtains, and Karen, the queen bee of our homeowners association, stood on her porch clutching her phone like a hero in her own fantasy movie. Her eyes were wide, her lips pursed tight, and I swear I heard her whisper, "I told them I saw something dangerous." Dangerous. My son's toy rocket had duct tape on it because he tried to fix the fins with my packing tape. That's it. That's all. I remember yelling, "It's a toy. It's just a toy." My voice cracked and the SWAT guy shoved me back, his vest hard against my chest. "Sir, step aside. We can't take any chances." No chances. Over a $10 rocket from Walmart. My son clung to my leg, sobbing, "Dad, I didn't mean." And my throat tightened so hard I could barely breathe. And Karen. Oh, Karen. She smirked. Like this was vindication. Proof of everything she'd complained about since we moved in. Too many projects in my garage. Too much noise. Too much traffic. And now, apparently, a homemade bomb. She folded her arms and gave me this smug little nod as if to say, "Finally, they'll see I was right about you." But God, did it backfire? The SWAT team spread out across my lawn, shouting commands. Boots pounded against the sidewalk. Metal clattered as shields hit the ground. My son's little rocket sat there in the grass, duct-taped and harmless, surrounded by men with rifles drawn. The sound of Velcro ripping as they adjusted their gear was like something out of a war movie. My neighbors gasped. Someone screamed, and I could hear the buzz of Karen's voice. "Yes, officers. I saw him with wires and tape. I knew something was wrong. I knew it." I wanted to explode. "He's 7. I shouted, voice raw. "Do you hear yourself? He's a child." The officer nearest me glanced down, his jaw tightening. I saw doubt flicker in his eyes, but protocol kept him moving. They circled the rocket. One crouched, poked it with a long pole, and after 2 eternal minutes the bomb tech sighed, lifted the toy and held it high. "It's plastic. It's a toy." The silence that fell was deafening. My son hiccuped through his tears. My wife, barefoot on the porch, whispered, "Oh, thank God." And me. I looked straight at Karen. My hands shook. My chest heaved, and I whispered under my breath, "You're done." But Karen wasn't done. No, she doubled down. "It looked dangerous." She shrieked, her voice sharp as broken glass. "You can't blame me for being cautious. What if it had been real? What if it had exploded? I saved us." Neighbors turned. Some shook their heads. Others muttered under their breath. A man across the street barked out a laugh, bitter and cold. "Saved us from a toy rocket. Lady, are you kidding?" Karen's face reddened. Her lips trembled, but she tried to hold her ground. "I was just being a responsible resident." She snapped. Responsible. The sight of my boy clutching my wife's leg, still crying, told a different story. My blood boiled. And just then, the officer in charge stepped forward. Helmet off, sweat glistening under the sun. His voice was calm but edged with steel. "Ma'am, you filed a false report of a bomb. Do you realize the resources you've wasted? This is a federal matter." Her jaw dropped. What? No, I didn't file a false report. I called in what I saw. But it was too late. The neighborhood was watching. The kids were whispering. Phones were recording. Someone snorted. Someone else muttered. Classic Karen. And me. For once, I didn't even have to say a word. Karen tried to wriggle out of it. I'm on the homeowners association board. She snapped. I have a duty. Your duty, the officer interrupted, his tone sharp, is not to cause a panic with baseless accusations. You've put people at risk today. I swear, I felt a chill of satisfaction run down my spine, like justice was cracking open right there on my lawn. Karen's face twisted, her voice pitched higher. You can't fine me for being careful. But they could. And they did. The fine wasn't just a slap on the wrist. It was thousands of dollars. Add to that the homeowners association emergency meeting that followed and the fury of neighbors who'd had their Saturday wrecked by Karen's paranoia. She was cornered. For once, the queen of complaints had no one left to back her up. But let me tell you, the drama didn't stop there. That night, long after the police had left and my boy was finally asleep, my phone buzzed. It was a text from my neighbor Jenna. Check Facebook. Karen's already spinning her story. I opened the app and there it was. A long post from Karen, claiming she had acted heroically and saved families from danger. My jaw clenched. The audacity. Comments rolled in beneath, some defending her, most calling her out. One said, "Lady, it was a toy. We all saw it." Another wrote, "You traumatized a child. Shame on you." And then, twist of all twists, someone posted a screenshot from Karen's private homeowners association chat. She'd bragged earlier in the week about teaching that family a lesson, because she was tired of our junk cluttering the block. My hands shook as I read it. She hadn't just made a mistake. She had plotted this. When the screenshot spread, the tide turned fast. People weren't just angry. They were livid. I could almost hear the neighborhood whispering like a hive stirred up. And the next homeowners association meeting. It was brutal. Karen strutted in with her binder, her pearls, her forced smile. But the murmurs cut through the air like knives. My wife squeezed my hand and I could feel the energy shift. For once, it wasn't us against Karen. It was Karen against everyone. Voices rose. Accusations flew. You lied to police. You scared our kids. You wasted tax dollars. Karen's voice cracked as she shouted back. I was protecting you. Protecting. No one believed her anymore. Not after the screenshots. Not after the fines. Not after the image of a sobbing child under flashing lights. And then came the final blow, a motion to remove her from the homeowners association board. The vote. Overwhelming. Her allies looked away, embarrassed, while hands shot up one after another. Karen's face went pale. Her lips quivered, and for the first time since I'd met her, she had no words. The sound of the gavel hitting the table echoed like thunder. Karen was out. Just like that. I won't lie. I exhaled so hard it felt like I'd been holding my breath for years. My wife leaned against me, whispering, "It's over. My son, too young to understand all of it, just asked the simplest, saddest question. Dad, why did she call the police on my rocket?" My throat tightened. How do you explain hate? How do you explain paranoia? I ruffled his hair and told him, because some people can't tell the difference between danger and imagination. But you keep imagining. Don't let anyone stop you. Even now, I hear echoes of that day. The sirens, the shouting, the gasp of my son's cry. And I think of Karen, sitting alone in her big house, stripped of her crown, paying off her fines, scrolling through angry comments she can't delete fast enough. Was it worth it? Karen, was it really worth it? Because in the end, she didn't expose me. She exposed herself. So tell me, who was really dangerous here? And that's why, no matter how twisted the world feels, I believe in karma. Because sometimes, right when you least expect it, the universe serves up justice on a silver platter. Thanks for sticking with me through this wild ride, and if you enjoyed hearing about how Homeowners Association Karen finally got what she deserved, make sure to drop a comment on whether you think she was right or wrong. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more unbelievable neighborhood drama. The sound of the subway roared like thunder under the streets of Manhattan. Steel wheels grinding against steel tracks, the screech echoing off the tiled walls. And right there, on a packed platform at rush hour, a middle-aged woman with a tight jaw and sharp eyes jabbed her finger into a man's chest and spat the words, "Move. This is my spot." My heart froze. Was she serious? The man didn't even flinch. He stood tall, broad-shouldered, posture straight as a flagpole, his backpack hanging off one arm. He was calm, eerily calm, like someone who'd seen worse than an angry commuter. And Karen, oh God, Karen wasn't backing down. Her voice sliced through the crowd. "You heard me. Don't stand there." The people around started shifting, whispering, pulling their phones out like they knew something ugly was about to explode. "Ma'am," the man said, his voice low, steady, almost too controlled. "There's no assigned spot on this platform. We all wait together." He might as well have poured gasoline on her fire. She snapped back with a shrill laugh. "Don't talk to me like I'm stupid. I've been riding this line 20 years. Everyone knows this is where the doors stop. This is MY Place." I swear, you could feel the air tighten. Someone coughed nervously. Someone else muttered under their breath, "Here we go." And just then, the train's headlight appeared in the tunnel. A blinding glow growing bigger, louder, closer. Karen's face twisted with fury. She hissed through her teeth, "Then I'll make you move." And she shoved him. Gasps exploded. A woman screamed. The man stumbled, just inches from the yellow line. Inches from death. My stomach dropped. Did she just try to push him into a moving train? But this wasn't some ordinary man. In a blink, he twisted his weight, planted his boots and pivoted back with a speed that didn't match his age. He caught himself like it was second nature, turned and locked eyes with her. For the first time, Karen hesitated. You could see it. Her confidence cracked when she realized who she was dealing with. He leaned closer, his voice sharp but calm. "Lady, I fought in Fallujah. You think you can rattle me?" The crowd erupted, half shocked, half egging him on. Karen's face flushed red, but she doubled down. "Don't you dare threaten me. I'll have you arrested. Assaulting a woman in public." And she screamed, so loud it cut through the screech of brakes as the train barreled in. But here's where fate twisted. A cop stepped off the arriving train, uniform crisp, badge glinting, eyes scanning the commotion. And of course, Karen sprinted right at him. "Officer, arrest this man. He just attacked me. He tried to kill me." The cop's eyebrows shot up, his gaze moving from her to the veteran, to the half-dozen phones already recording. The veteran didn't flinch. He raised his hands, palms open. "Sir, this woman shoved me toward the tracks. I caught myself. Check the cameras." His voice carried a weight, controlled, respectful, but firm. Karen shrieked louder, pointing at him like a witch calling fire from the sky. "Liar. He's dangerous. Look at him. He's violent." The officer sighed, deep and tired, like he'd heard this play out 100 times before. "Ma'am," he said slowly, "half this platform has you on video. You sure you want to go that route?" The crowd murmured. Phones raised higher, people nodding, pointing. One guy shouted, "We all saw you shove him, lady." Another chimed in, "Check the tapes. She almost killed him." Karen froze. Her eyes darted left, right, like a trapped animal. You could see her brain scrambling for a new angle. And then she snapped her fingers like she'd found it. "He threatened me. He said he fought in Iraq. That's scary. That's intimidation. The officer blinked, unimpressed. Ma'am, serving your country is not a crime. The platform went dead silent. And then, laughter. Not cruel, not loud, but a ripple of chuckles that cut sharper than any insult. Karen's face collapsed. She tried to scream over it, but her voice cracked. Stop laughing. Stop it right now. She stomped her foot like a child. The Marine shook his head, almost pitying her. You could have gotten me killed over a spot to stand. And you still think you're the victim. His words hit like a hammer. Karen lunged again, but this time the officer grabbed her arm. She shrieked, "Unhand me. I pay taxes." The officer replied flatly, "Yeah, so do the rest of us. Doesn't buy you the right to push people in front of trains." They cuffed her. Right there. In front of everyone. Cameras flashed. Phones recorded. Voices whispered. And in the middle of it all, the Marine just exhaled. Shoulders loosened. He looked tired, but steady, like someone who'd survived worse storms. But the twist. It wasn't over. Not by a long shot. 2 weeks later, headlines blasted across the city. Woman charged for attempted assault on veteran at subway platform. Karen's mugshot spread like wildfire. She tried to spin it. Claimed PTSD. Claimed she was scared for her life. But the videos didn't lie. The internet tore her apart. Memes. Parodies. Subway Karen became a viral punchline. And here's the bitter cherry on top. Turns out, Karen was a board member of her local homeowners association. Oh yes, the type who fined neighbors for leaving trash cans out. Who wrote angry notes about lawn height. Suddenly, every single person she'd ever harassed had a spotlight to tell their story. Lawsuits popped up. Old complaints resurfaced. It was like a dam breaking, and all that pressure, all that arrogance she'd built her life on, it came crashing back on her. The Marine. He didn't chase fame. Didn't milk it. He gave one short interview. Shrugged and said, "I just stood my ground. That's what Marines do." Then he disappeared back into his life. But Karen. She couldn't walk down her street without whispers. She couldn't step into a store without side eyes. And when her homeowners association board voted her out, unanimously, she screamed about conspiracies, betrayal, injustice. But no one listened. That's the part that stuck with me. She tried to push a man into a train. Someone who'd stared death in the face overseas, and instead, she pushed herself into the jaws of karma. And the jaws closed hard. Because sometimes, the loudest scream in the station isn't power. Sometimes, it's the sound of a life collapsing under the weight of its own arrogance. And if you ask me, she earned every second of it. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more stories like this one. She called 911 on my backyard birthday party before the first beat even dropped. Claimed disturbance of the peace, unauthorized gathering, and something ridiculous like suspicion of drug use. But Karen had no idea her own son was our DJ and her sister was the one who planned the whole event. Started around noon, all sunshine and grilled ribs. The suburbs were buzzing with cicadas and laughter. And I swear, for the first time in weeks, everyone just breathed. You know that rare, golden Saturday where nothing feels wrong? Yeah, that was this until she showed up with her ridiculous clipboard and a face so sour it could curdle milk. Karen stormed through the side gate without knocking, like she owned the property. "This is an unauthorized event. Where's your permit?" she barked, eyes scanning my guests like we were fugitives. I was still holding a plate of brisket. "It's a birthday, Karen, not a music festival," I said calmly, though my knuckles whitened around the tongs. She huffed. "Noise complaints are piling in. I'll be reporting this to the HOA board. Oh wait, I am the board." Cue the dramatic eye roll from my cousin Lila, who was pouring lemonade like it was moonshine. "You need to chill, lady." Karen whipped around, nostrils flaring. "Excuse me?" And here's the kicker, she hadn't even heard the music yet. Our DJ, masked up behind the decks inside, was still sound-checking. The real party hadn't started. But Karen was already on her phone, muttering about law enforcement and safety violations. I heard her say drugs and nearly choked on my sweet tea. Are you serious? My mom was literally knitting in a lawn chair next to a baby pool filled with Capri Suns. The cops arrived in less than 15 minutes. Blue lights flashing across my string lights, which I had just untangled that morning seriously. It took me an hour. 2 officers walked up, already annoyed. You could tell this wasn't their first Karen call of the weekend. "Ma'am, we got a noise complaint and reports of possible illegal substances," one officer said as he adjusted his belt. I raised my eyebrows so high they nearly launched off my face. Illegal substances? We've got jalapeno dip and mango seltzers. Take your pick. Karen folded her arms triumphantly. I warned you. But the officer didn't look at me. He looked past me, toward the deck. Hold up. Is that DJ K. Rush? Everyone turned. Music started to pulse low at first, then rising like a heartbeat. The DJ pulled off his mask with a wink. Yep, her son. Full tattoo sleeves, silver chains, and that stupid grin he always had in high school. Tyler. Freaking. Rushman. Karen's pride and joy until now. Her face drained of color. Tyler. What are you doing here? He cued the next beat without missing a step. Getting paid, Mom. You said you were out of town. A visible tremor went through her spine. You lied to me. He smirked. Guess we both lie now, huh? You could hear the gasp ripple through the backyard. And then bam. Like divine punishment with party lights, the host stepped onto the patio. Clad in a floral maxi dress and a sun hat bigger than her ego. Karen's estranged sister, Doreen. Doreen waved dramatically. Hello everyone. Hope you're loving the party I planned. And thank you, Karen, for calling the police to your own son's gig. That's one way to show support. Karen looked like she was about to faint. You forged the rental request form? Doreen grinned. Nope. I'm the property owner. I sublet it to Jace for the month, to get away from you. I nearly dropped my brisket. Wait, what? That's why the leaseholder's name wasn't familiar. Doreen owned the house across the cul-de-sac and was letting me use it while my place got fumigated. But I didn't know they were sisters. Oh, the tangled web of petty suburbia. Karen sputtered. This is fraud. You went behind my back. Fraud. Doreen tilted her head. Is that what you call it now, after you signed our late mother's will behind my back and kept the lake house? Another collective gasp. Even the cop raised an eyebrow. You think I forgot that? Doreen continued, her voice calm but venomous. You forged Mom's signature. I've got the forensic analyst's report. Wanna see it? Karen turned red, then white, then some shade of, I just pooped my HOA khakis. And that's when the real twist dropped. One of the officers stepped aside to answer his radio, then returned with a strange look. Ma'am, he said to Karen, there's actually an active lawsuit in your name filed this week, tied to property inheritance fraud. You'll need to come with us for a few questions. The whole backyard fell silent except for the beat still pulsing behind us. Karen's voice cracked. You can't be serious. The officer gestured toward his cruiser. Let's sort this out downtown. The woman who had barged into our yard like a one-woman HOA hurricane now stood motionless, lips parted, eyes hollow. But I'm the one who called you, she whispered. And now someone else is calling you out, Doreen said, sipping her punch like it was tea at a royal scandal. Tyler packed up his DJ gear, avoiding his mother's eyes. I'll get a ride home. You good, Jace? I nodded, still stunned. Dude, did you know any of this? He shook his head. Man, I just wanted to drop bass, not bombs. And just like that, Karen was escorted out of her own mess. No grand exit, no dramatic monologue, just the low hum of justice rolling down suburban streets. When the cops left, the music returned. Louder, freer. Laughter erupted like steam after a storm. People danced again. Doreen winked at me, holding her glass high. Nothing like a little lawsuit to clear the air, huh? And I swear, Somewhere between the salsa dip and the sparklers, I finally exhaled. The very next week, a notice from the county courthouse was posted on the HOA bulletin board. Turns out Doreen had finally filed her long-threatened lawsuit against Karen for willful fraud and inheritance forgery. And thanks to the forensic report she mentioned at the party, the judge fast-tracked the case for review. You should have seen the look on Karen's face when the process server handed her those papers right in front of the community gym. Instant karma, public edition. Rumors spread faster than pool chlorine in July. Residents who once tiptoed around Karen started openly questioning her decisions. People dug through past HOA decisions she'd signed off on and found some very sketchy inconsistencies. The gardening budget? Off by $12,000. Security camera invoices? Paid twice.
H o afines.
Handwritten and never logged. Yeah, the same woman who called 911 over a party was about to get grilled for embezzlement and fraud in broad daylight. Doreen didn't stop there. She ran for HOA president at the emergency meeting a month later and won. Unanimously. I guess throwing a killer party and exposing family-level corruption goes a long way in the suburbs. As for Tyler, he started his own mobile DJ company Suburb Drope and got 3 new gigs just from that party alone. One of them was hosted at the community clubhouse which Doreen now manages. Karen? She resigned from the HOA after the first court hearing. Not that she had much choice, the judge issued a preliminary ruling freezing her access to HOA funds and flagged several documents as likely forged. She now keeps a very low profile, mostly watering her plants at night and pretending not to exist. And me? I still laugh every time I see her old clipboard nailed to the HOA corkboard with a note that reads, "Next time, RSVP especially if your family's planning the party." I never expected a simple birthday barbecue to spark a lawsuit, dethrone a tyrant, and unite a neighborhood, but here we are. Moral of the story? Never swing first when your family's holding the receipts. For more stories where Karens get clapped by karma and lawsuits fly faster than gossip, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You're not going to want to miss what happened after the court ruling.